Hello, my name is Terry. This video will cover our two investigations from Pythian Castle during the years 2013 and 2014. I decided to combine both of them into one video with just the highlights of the best footage from both. The first scene provides some background information from one of Pythian Castle's historians during its World War II era that is little known outside the small community of ghost hunters.
Now, I may have you in here under a false pretense. As far as we know for certain, it is documented. This was the roots of the Pythians. They kept their onions and potatoes, that kind of thing down. Having said that, we had a retired four-star general come to the tour one day. He walked straight over to this wall and pointed out these metal things that I've never really noticed before. He says, I've seen this many times. This is exactly what you would have here if you had people chained to the walls. Now, if we have a four-star general telling us this, all while knowing this was a military base that housed POWs during time of war, the greatest war, and I checked. This is before the ratification of the Fourth Geneva Convention.
The first scene I want to show you was recorded just outside the room of the previously recorded footage. If you listen carefully, you'll hear an EVP voice saying the words, "Go faster." This is no member of our group saying this. This area is an EVP hotspot where very good quality EVPs are recorded periodically. You'll also hear in this clip the sound of the lens cap cover of the camcorder striking the tripod as I'm walking with it. This is not the first time that an EVP voice has been recorded while the lens cap cover is bouncing against the tripod, providing a tapping background sound. It's possible that these entities may be manipulating these sounds to produce the voices that we're hearing. It's impossible to verify one way or the other, but it just seems rather odd that in places like the Lehman House, I have identical type recordings where the tapping of the lens cap cover on a tripod while I'm walking with it is also accompanied by an EVP voice. This scene was recorded in the backstage area. It's not accessible from the front stage. There's a locked door behind the stage preventing access, but there is a back area stairwell leading up to the backstage rooms. There's approximately 4 or 5 rooms in this area, and EVP activity and other forms of movement, including apparitions, have been seen back in these rooms. The first thing I want you to listen for isn't a traditional EVP voice. This is different in that I actually heard a whispering voice with my ears coming from outside the hallway. Other members in the room also heard sounds of movement coming from outside in the hallway. The voice that I heard, which was so weak it was unintelligible, is so different from what was recorded, because the voice recorded is very loud and clear, and it says, "I can't wait." I don't understand why the voice I heard was so weak and barely perceptible, yet what was recorded was much, much stronger. There's also no one outside in this hallway area or in any of these rooms to account for this voice.
But it's downstairs.
Did you hear something out there?
Yeah. I'm hearing movement.
Did you hear whispering? The next clip is very interesting. I asked the entity if it could turn a flashlight on for us. I placed the flashlight on an end table in the center of the room and sat back and waited. It didn't take long before we heard the sound of a metal scraping coming from inside the flashlight. It was apparently trying to activate the on-off switch of the flashlight. It didn't succeed, but it moved it far enough to where it made a sound that was loud enough for all of us to hear. This is a flashlight button. Turn the light on. Can you turn that on by pushing the button? You hear a click. The next clip was recorded down in the cellar area just outside the tunnel. I had the camera mounted with the laser night shot, looking down into the tunnel. Nothing emerges from the darkness, but you can hear the sound of something banging on the pipes down inside the tunnel. There's no one down there, and there's no outlet at the other end of the tunnel for anyone to gain access from. The next clip is also from the tunnel area. The last group of people had just departed from the tunnel and had emerged at the front end and were describing what they had encountered down there. When one of the women says, "We got that too," you'll hear the voice of someone almost screaming coming from down in the tunnel. There's no one down there. This was the last group of people down inside the tunnel. They didn't hear it, and nobody commented on this because no one heard this voice.
Yeah, we asked their name and we both heard something. So we got above 2. So we got up to the 3. We got above 2. So we got above 2. So we got above 2. So we got.
The next clip was recorded in the backstage hallway. There's a male EVP voice, and it can clearly be heard saying the word help. The following clip was recorded in the exact same area. It's of a male voice saying the word "yeah," but it's doing so in a very unusual way. It's a very weak, breathy voice, and it's a very drawn out way of saying one word, but it's very clear. Ken had set up his PSB-7 ghost box inside the room adjacent to the one we'd been primarily investigating. While examining the room, I noticed that the way it was designed, I thought that when it had been built initially, that there may have been a second doorway connecting these two rooms. Coming through on the PSB-7 is a very clear voice that says the word "true," like confirming what I was saying. Some of these things can be written off as coincidence, but these PSB-7 boxes seem to score so many hits that are accurate or relevant to what you're saying that it's almost beyond probability. Maybe there was a doorway there.
True.
It's a true. The following clip is one of my favorites, and it was recorded almost by a freakish accident. We concluded our investigation on the 1-hour rotation of the second floor and gone down to the main area on the first floor to sit down in the break area. I just sat my camcorder down on the table and I sat down in the chair when it captured this voice. It's of a female child, a little girl, and she's saying, "Don't just sit down." This is interesting in that not only is it proving that it's observing what we're doing, it's also providing information that was a little frustrated with us because we decided to go take a break instead of attempting to further communicate with her. This is a proof that there's some intelligent entities here that are trying to interact with the living. They're commenting on what we're doing and they're observing us. The following clip was recorded upstairs in the backstage hallway area. We'd just been walking down the main hallway, and I was showing some people who weren't familiar with the area, the different areas in the backstage. Ken, who was behind me, witnessed an apparition of a woman in a long black dress inside one of the rooms that I just passed. Unfortunately, I passed it with the camcorder and I caught none of what was going on inside the room that he had seen. I did, however, go into the room afterwards and we tried to recreate what he had seen. What's interesting is while we're trying to do this, several voices are captured in this process. The first one said, "Thank you," almost as in gratitude that we were attempting to communicate with her.
Up here.
Do you remember the big stage
Yeah.
that's on the second floor? That's the back door to it.
Oh, okay.
Except it's locked.
Well, wait a minute.
It was
I
this
just saw
room.
someone.
Someone?
Yeah, right through that mirror. No, this mirror.
That's funny. To see someone in this mirror, don't they have to be...
Now stand like right there. What's that?
The second EVP voice, also captured during this short session, can be heard saying the word help.
I don't know, but I saw. I don't know, but I saw. I don't know, but I saw. I don't know, but I saw.
I only once in a blue moon capture a good digital still photograph. More ghost hunters have luck with digital still photography than I do, but I do occasionally get a hit like the one in this photograph. I want you to dismiss the orbs as nothing. Those are just dust. The pale one at least is. The bright one could be genuine, but it might also be something reflective off of the man's clothing or shoe. But that's not what I'm interested in at all. If you look carefully to the left side of the man, you'll see that something is obstructing your view of the pinstripes on the back of his jacket as he's walking away from the camera. I did several zooms of this picture and wanted to get a better look at what was obstructing the view. And I also did an enhancement. It became clear what was going on. This man was walking through a shadow figure. You'll see a black mass that has partially walked past him toward the camera as he is walking away from the camera. You'll see the upper torso and portions of the legs that have manifested, but it appears that the very lowest extremities and the head are missing. You'll see that it is clearly obstructing your view of the white pinstripes on his jacket, but you can see its silhouette. What's interesting is that whatever it is physically closer to me in the camera, and it should have been better illuminated by the flash, but whatever it is not being effectively illuminated by the camera's flash. So the man is more reflective, and that's why you can see through portions of it so well, and others you can't.